and welcome to Star Wars Connection. My name is Lee and I'm here with Denise.
Hello everybody.
We're going to start off by talking a little bit about marketing and the poster for The Last Jedi that was recently released. And this is a companion discussion to our analysis of The Last Jedi trailer. If you haven't seen that video, check that out first and then come back to us here because we're going to be referencing things that we already discussed in that podcast. At the end, we're going to introduce you guys to two new artists. They're just fantastic and they told us that they love us and we love them too. So you're going to be seeing a lot of their art featured from now on in our podcast, hopefully. And then we're also going to share some mail that we've received, a really cool theory from a viewer named Dale. Now, without further rambling, let's get right into our discussion of the day. So when it comes to the marketing, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's great. It's amazing. So we have Kylo's and Rey's clothes on the floor, for example. What does that mean?
So we ran a little survey on Tumblr where we asked people, what does it make you think when you see Kylo and Rey's clothes on the floor kind of mixed up together? It makes me think that they undressed in a hurry, but maybe they went skinny dipping because there's some sea urchins. It's like whatever you want to say, that means something. I saw somebody saying, well, okay, it was done by an intern who doesn't have any connection to the production. Sure, that may be true, but remember, this is a product, meaning the franchise, that's worth a lot of money. So if something goes against the tone that they're trying to portray, then it's not going to be out there. You know, if they're brother and sister, if they're cousins, and we're not supposed to read anything sexual into it, they're going to be careful about how they market these items. But you have his and hers perfumes. I mean, seriously, guys, his and hers perfumes. Let's do a little test. I want everybody to think about the last his and hers perfume ad that you saw. It could be like a photo that you saw on a billboard or in a magazine, or it can be an actual commercial. The most memorable that you recall. For me, it's going to be Gucci Guilty because I love that scent and also because I'm Catholic, so it's a theme that speaks to me on a personal level. But seriously, just think about it. The marketing for perfumes for couples is based almost entirely on sex. Either sex or romance. Sometimes a little bit of both. You see that they highlight complementariness of male and female, how they're either the same, like they both like biking, they both like rolling around, or how they're complementary. So the woman is soft and the man is tough or whatever. So, but they complement each other in a way. So like two of a kind. Scent is something that is very closely intertwined with desire and memory and chemicals flowing. So it's not just any couple that's going to get a perfume. Brother and sister, cousins and friends don't get matching fragrances if they're male and female. This is a very specific message. It's not going to be cousins. It's not going to be siblings unless you're from a place where like cousins and siblings bang, which unless you like live in Casterly Rock or you're a Targaryen, that's not going to be you. So it's very clear. And people are like, oh, how does that confirm Reylo? It's not that it confirms Reylo, my dude. It means that if you put all of these things together, the clothes on the floor, the perfume, Kylo Ren on Battlefront 2, his audio, the girl Rey, I know her, I sense her, she's mine. Who talks like that about some cousin girl? Nobody talks like that about a cousin. Nobody talks like that about a sister. This is a message that's being conveyed to you. Please piece it all together and let go of this idea of related, because the marketing is just not pointing in that direction.
Yeah, or that they're gonna be, they're just gonna be enemies, because that's not what it's saying. It just, what got me was, I was thinking, okay, Reylo dolls, how are they gonna, how are you gonna sell this to little kids, that this, because when you put these two dolls together, like I said, it's a couple, if they're just buddies, which could be super cool, just teaming up and, getting to know each other now. And also one thing that Ryan said, that the movie stands on its own, it's made to stand on its own, which I believe it, and it would be a little incomplete if they didn't go there. And also, Disney is gonna make so much money in this next 2 years of this, and it doesn't make sense not to have it. But yes, it's not, of course, like he said, oh, it's not central. Of course it's not central. Look at how much stuff they have to do. And also for Rose and Finn, which yes, I think they are going to have a romance, they're not really, it's not gonna be very important.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Of the marketing.
I agree with you, absolutely. And because it's coming out of nowhere, like there's no background between them. It takes a while for things to get to that point, and they're not going to have that much screen time. Look at how tiny Rose is. I didn't like that, how they put her so tiny in the poster.
I think it was because Finn's role is not going to be that big. You know, like we said, he's kind of... That's why, you know, if his role is not going to be that big, her role as his love interest is not that great. And, you know, like we're not going to have this emotional journey to get to them, to get to that point. So we're not going to be as invested. So it's not going to be, unfortunately, it's not going to be as interesting. But maybe it will. I don't know.
Yes. All right, guys. So we want to talk about the official theatrical poster. To be honest with you, I don't love it quite as much as I loved the teaser poster that came out during Celebration. I think that is stunning. I have it hanging actually on my wall at home, and it's just fantastic. This one is kind of, okay, a bunch of heads, you know, but there's still cool things about it. I personally love the fact how Rey and Kylo are positioned. This is the whole yin and yang thing come to life. They're positioned counter to each other. He's red, she's blue, and you can tell that they come as a set. It's a very nice visual representation of the duality that they share and the way that they're positioned against each other as characters in the story and as individuals. I also liked that Luke is a gigantic evil head. He's taking the place of the villain in the poster. We've done poster analysis before where we've talked about how in Star Wars traditionally the villain has the biggest head, and Luke is it. So it tells you a little bit about how he's going to be portrayed. I don't think he's going to be the big bad, but he's certainly not going to be fully good. He's definitely placed in an antagonistic way. What do you think, Denise?
Yeah, I also didn't like the poster very much. It doesn't look very striking, but I do like the red thing. I said, you know, if someone looks at it casually without paying attention, you could think it's a horror movie, you know, with all that red. But the one thing that I've already mentioned, you have Finn and Poe, same size. Oh, I loved Leia. She looks amazing in it. And by the way, she also looks amazing in the trailer.
Leia looks amazing everywhere. And Carrie Fisher's acting, my goodness, her facial expressions convey so much. I believe she and Adam Driver are really related just because of how they're both so great like that. But she looks stunning. I love that she's in the center. Yeah. I love how she and Luke are positioned too. They're in the center, and people are going to say, oh, it's because Rey and Kylo are cousins. They're in between the twins. Okay, whatever.
Family portraits.
Exactly. I didn't like how tiny Kelly Marie Tran's character is, and I don't like that Hux is bigger than her. I don't like that Finn is tiny.
I don't like that either, especially because it's not symmetrical.
Yeah, no, that's true. Somebody pointed out something really cool at our home base, which is that if you look at Rey's saber, there's a lens flare there that makes it look like it's got a crossguard on it. So it actually complements Kylo's saber perfectly, just like she complements him in their positioning. And you mentioned, Denise, that the way that she's positioned, it looks like she's saying, I got your back, Kylo, you know? She's protecting him. She's guarding his 6 o'clock.
Him.
I'm the only one who gets to cut him up. But anyway, one thing I like about the poster is that if you notice, Rey and Kylo's droids are aligned. I know that BB-8, he belongs to Poe technically, but he was rolling around after Rey throughout most of TFA. You know, I associate him with Rey more than I do with Poe, and I just think it's awesome how even they are aligned. It's just really cool. Just overall, I'm impressed by the way that the poster highlights the synchronicity and duality and complementariness of Rey and Kylo. One dark, the other one light, and Kylo is the one who is being protected by Rey. Rey is the one who's got his back. Again, just highlights the little kink in their dynamic, the little subversion of the expectation where the guy is the one who's going to be protecting the girl. In this case, she's the one who's got a protective stance, and he's the one who's vulnerable and needs her to be guarding his back. That's visually what you're getting from that. And when you think about how we've seen their relationship from The Force Awakens, where in many instances, Rey has been the more dominant of the two. Kylo has been the vulnerable one who needs some kind of rescuing, who needs to be brought back to the light, and who's been kind of kidnapped or brainwashed or whatever by Snoke and needs a hero. Kylo Ren needs a hero, and here is heroic Rey. So I just think it's very beautiful. So yeah, I would say as a whole, I don't find the poster very striking. Certainly not the way that the teaser poster was, but there are things to love about it.
I think the problem is that the teaser poster was just so insanely amazing that, you know, anything that came after that, especially with so many heads, it would have had a problem.
One thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if you want to cover your ears, Denise, but It's about a few things that have come true that we have heard months in advance because of leaks and spoilers that were shared on the dark corners of the internet, aka Reddit and 4chan. What they were saying about there's going to be a dip for Rey. We saw her swimming. We saw her coming out into this cave. And we saw Rey and Kylo having a conversation, the hints of them having a conversation that was meaningful and powerful and intimate. And we heard about the rumors of the exploding hut. What we heard was that Luke was going to get angry and blow up the hut because he saw Rey and Kylo talk. Well, Rey and Kylo spending time in there. We don't know exactly what they were doing. But yeah, this is happening. I mean, really, this is pretty cool. We had also heard on spoilers that recently came out that there was a moment where Kylo was going to go off on his spaceship and he was going to charge at a ship and blow it up. This kind of lines up with what we have heard. So if you're really interested in spoilers, pay attention to some of these people who are claiming to be insiders because a lot of what they have said has come true so far.
Yeah. There's another one by the Knights of Ren about the Harbinger of Doom.
Yes.
Rey being... I shouldn't be... Why am I looking at this? And it kind of seems that it could be true because maybe, you know, the way Luke is scared of her and how Snoke uses her. I'm not saying... I don't think it's necessarily is true, but I think there is a good chance of that being true as well.
So to give the background to our viewers who don't know, Knights of Rant so it's a podcast by these two ladies and they're funny. Honestly, I don't have time to listen to other podcasts too much because, you know, I barely have time to be in our podcast. But I caught an episode of theirs and I thought they were hilarious and just cool. So I didn't actually hear the episode where they talked about the Harbinger of Doom, Rey theory, but I did hear about it. It just sounds crazy enough that it might be. And they're not proposing that this is actually going to happen. They're just saying that they have pieced things together from living and working in LA and talking to different people who are connected to the production, but who have not spoiled things to them, but kind of by process of elimination, they have tied it all up and come up with this theory about what can happen. That apparently Luke has heard of Rey. It's almost like she was the one that was foretold, but not in a good way. It was going to be like almost like she was a bad omen. Like you don't want this chick to show up because then it's the end kind of thing, because she was going to be kind of like the anti-chosen one in a way. And the idea also that Kylo may have fallen either to try to protect the galaxy from Rey, the Doom element, meaning that he killed everybody because he thought one of the Padawans was the Harbinger of Doom. And so that's why, you know, he fell, or because he took her place. Like he fell in place of her somehow. And I don't really remember like the details. To be honest with you, this happened months ago, but it's something like that. I'm kind of rephrasing what I recall. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's the idea. We're going to include a link to their podcast so that you guys can hear it. You know, it sounds awesome. It sounds like a really cool theory, but I didn't put much stock in it until this came out, like you're saying, Denise, because of how Luke is behaving towards Rey. He seems guarded at best, displeased, fearful, and definitely not like, oh my baby girl, welcome home, honey, you know. No, he doesn't look happy with her at all. And he's treating her like she's going to blow up at any minute, you know. And he's afraid. And then if you think about Kylo Ren saying to Rey, it is you. And then JJ saying, well, Kylo Ren and Rey have never met. It makes sense also. So, which by the way, some of you guys have said online, some of our viewers in comments to us and emails and things like that you don't believe JJ. Like when he says Rey and Kylo Ren have never met. Yeah, maybe Rey and Kylo Ren have never met, but Kylo Ren's name is not Kylo Ren and Rey's name is probably not Rey. So maybe they have met under other names and it's just JJ being sneaky. So that is interesting. That's something to pay attention to as well. But the idea also that we heard was that Luke thought that Kylo was the chosen one. He made a mistake with him. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out that maybe Rey is the chosen one. Maybe there is a connection between them there as well. Maybe it's not that either of them is the chosen one, but they're both together. When they unite, then they become the chosen one.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It ties in with what Rian Johnson has been saying, you know. If, you know, we're interpreting two halves in a certain way, but it could also mean something else.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about our 2 new favorite artists. First we have Ksania. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. She goes by ksart. That's her blog. We're going to share links to her Tumblr and her DeviantArt. And she sent us the most amazing email last month. She was like, I love you and I want to give you this. Well, she didn't say that. She said that she had gotten inspired to start drawing and working on art again because of Reylo, and that hearing our podcast had helped. We can't describe like how humbled, just ecstatic we are to hear stuff like that. We're very happy to see that she has kept on producing amazing artwork, and I encourage anyone who's interested in art and Reylo to follow her on Tumblr because she is super talented and she's so funny. She comes up with like the funniest, quirkiest comics. And then we have another artist. Her name is Ash, and her blog is The Forces of Destiny at Tumblr. And she said to us that we are welcome to use her art in our episodes, which is awesome because her art is beautiful. She has also an Instagram account, Destiny of the Force. We're going to share those links. Okay, so lastly, we wanted to share some mail, and this is from Dale. Here's what he has to say. I've pretty much had this theory since the Clone Wars ended and since The Force Awakens was released, and I believe The Last Jedi trailer adds to this. I wholeheartedly believe that the prequel trilogy essentially set the stage, evening the playing field. The Sith were decimated at the beginning, and by episode 3, so too were the Jedi. The original trilogy saw the end of the Sith, and I think the sequel trilogy will see to the end of the Jedi. In Eastern philosophy, one can only become whole when they embrace and accept all aspects of oneself. I believe that Kylo shall remain dark and Rey shall remain light, but both will unite to defeat Snoke and together bring balance to the Force, forging something new. The best of both, except for the prejudices and dogma of the Jedi and Sith institutions. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on both my theory and the deeper mythological aspects of the Force. Kind regards, Dale. Dale, you're awesome. We love that you wrote to us and shared your theory. What do you think, Denise?
I think it makes sense, and it ties in with all the inspiration for Star Wars and everything. But at the same time, I just don't think that she's light and he's dark. I think they're both light and dark.
I think that as far as everything that we've seen of Kylo Ren's potential arc in The Last Jedi and where The Force Awakens ended, where it left off with him, I think everything's pointing towards his redemption. I don't think that he's going to remain on the dark side, and I don't think that you can say even now that Kylo Ren is fully evil and that Rey is fully good. They both have elements of light and dark in them. It's just that in one of them it's more pronounced as light side, and in the other the dark side is more pronounced. And I think that can shift. Either of them can express light and dark at different moments. The thing I like about Dale's theory is that he talks about Eastern principles in mysticism, where it's understood that you have to integrate all aspects of yourself in order to find balance and enlightenment and wisdom and all that. We haven't seen that yet in Star Wars, because when you think about the factions of Jedi and Sith, if you look at their codes, the more striking thing is that they're disavowing each other so intensely. It's very almost pressured how the Jedi are saying that they're rejecting anything that has to do with passion and anger and negativity to the point where they're going to, endeavor to feel no emotion at all. Whereas the Sith are just kind of exaggeratedly going after and chasing after that intense emotion to fuel their force power. So it's just too extreme. Neither extreme is good. And those philosophies couldn't be sustained because there is no balance. It just eventually led to chaos. I don't think people really think about the Force in that way. People tend to just accept that the Jedi are supposed to be good and the Sith are supposed to be bad, but nobody really looks at the hypocrisy that you can see on both sides and the fact that there's a lot of gray. It's not always clear cut. And that's one of the things that I appreciate about the prequels. I know a lot of people hate the prequels, but for me, the fact that it exposed the hypocrisy of the Jedi and how even with the best of intentions, you can really, really fuck things up if you are approaching things from an extremist and self-righteous point of view, which is what happened with the Jedi. So why on earth would you want to restore the Jedi Order to the way it was before? I think we need to evolve and move forward. The signs are there that through Kylo and Rey, the Force might build a new temple for itself, a new order. I'm very excited about that being explored. Okay, so that's going to be it for us today. We hope that you enjoyed our discussion. You can write to us at starwarsconnection09@gmail.com. You can also leave us a comment on our YouTube page. You can contact us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Mixcloud. Until next time, may the Force be with you.